You're being positioned for something greater. In today's culture, there's so much pressure to be seen, to be known, to be successful in the eyes of the world. But God's definition of success is different. He's not interested in rushing you into fame or fortune. He's interested in making you faithful. He's looking for hearts that are surrendered, people who can be trusted with influence because they didn't chase the spotlight. They chased Him. They let Him lead. They trusted His timing. And when He brought them into the light, they were ready. Don't despise the hidden season. Don't fight the quiet place. Embrace it. Use it to grow. Use it to get closer to God, to deepen your character, develop your gifts. There's something powerful about being prepared in private. When the time comes and God brings you into the fullness of what He has planned, you won't have to scramble to get ready. You'll already be prepared. You won't be overwhelmed by the blessing. You'll be equipped to handle it. You may not feel like you're doing anything extraordinary right now, but just by staying faithful, you're laying the groundwork for your future. Every time you show up with a good attitude, even when things aren't changing, that's preparation. Every time you resist temptation, every time you choose discipline, every time you keep believing when nothing is moving, God is using that to build you into the person who can step confidently into the purpose He designed you for. So if you're in a hidden season, don't lose heart. You're not falling behind. You're being formed. You're not being forgotten. Trust the process. Trust the timing. Trust the God who sees the whole picture. He's working behind the scenes, arranging things in your favor, preparing opportunities that you couldn't make happen on your own. And when the time is right, He will open the doors, He will lift you up, and you'll look back and realize it was all worth it. The hidden season wasn't wasted. It was the foundation of everything to come. There are moments in life when you feel like you're doing everything right, yet nothing seems to be moving. You're making good choices, keeping your heart pure, staying faithful, and walking in obedience. But doors are still closed. Opportunities seem to pass you by. Other people are being noticed, promoted, and celebrated. But it feels like you're in the shadows, and it's easy to start questioning God. Oh, why am I being overlooked? Why are things taking so long? Why do I feel so hidden? But what you have to understand is this. When God hides you, it's not rejection, it's protection. He's not ignoring you, He's shielding you. He's not punishing you, He's preserving you for the right time. Sometimes God will keep you concealed because what you're carrying is too valuable to be exposed too early. If you were seen before you were ready, if you stepped into the spotlight before your foundation was secure, the weight of that attention could crush you, could overwhelm you. So out of His great love and wisdom, God says, I'm going to keep you hidden a little while longer, not to hurt you, but to protect you. It's like a parent who keeps their child inside during a storm. The child may not understand why they can't go out to play, but the parent sees what the child can't see. They know the storm is dangerous. They're not being cruel. They're being careful. In the same way, God sees what you can't see. He sees the traps, the distractions, the people who would misuse your gift, the opportunities that look good on the outside but aren't part of His best for you. And so He hides you, not because you're not ready, but because the world isn't ready for what you carry. Think about Moses. He was born at a time when Pharaoh had ordered all Hebrew baby boys to be killed. But the Bible says his mother hid him for 3 months. She saw something special in him. She knew he had a destiny, so she protected him. She didn't put him on display. She hid him because his life had purpose. And later, after being placed in a basket and drawn out of the water by Pharaoh's daughter, Moses was raised in the palace. Even then, God didn't launch him into his calling right away. He spent 40 years on the backside of the desert, hidden. He had leadership in him. He had calling in him. But God was still protecting the purpose. That hiding wasn't punishment. It was preparation through protection. God was guarding his destiny until the time was right. And when the time came, Moses stepped forward and led an entire nation to freedom. Had he been exposed too soon, he might have been destroyed by Pharaoh's wrath. But because God hid him, protected him, and watched over him, he fulfilled his purpose. You might feel like you're in that desert season right now, like nobody sees you, like your gifts and talents are being wasted. But let me encourage you, God sees you. He knows exactly where you are. He knows the dreams in your heart, the prayers you've whispered, the tears you've cried in silence. He sees the seeds you've sown, the kindness you've extended, the faithfulness you've shown even when nobody else was watching. And He's not going to let any of that go to waste. You're hidden not because you're not good enough, but because you are. You're hidden not because God forgot about you, but because He remembers every promise He made to you. You're hidden because He's keeping you safe from things that could sabotage your calling, distract your focus, or draw you into relationships or situations that would pull you off course. Some of the things you thought were setbacks were actually setups for your protection. That rejection, that closed door, that friendship that didn't work out, it wasn't random. It was God preserving you. Sometimes God closes doors because the opportunity wasn't right. Not for anybody, but especially not for you. Sometimes He removes people from your life because they couldn't go where He's taking you. Sometimes He delays the spotlight because He's still strengthening your roots. If a tree grows tall without strong roots, the first storm will knock it down. But if its roots go deep, it can withstand anything. And God cares more about your longevity than your momentary success. He wants you to stand strong, not just in the blessings, but in the trials. And that's why He protects you while He builds you. Jesus Himself was hidden. Before His public ministry began, He spent 30 years in relative obscurity. No crowds, no miracles, no platforms, just quiet preparation. Learning carpentry, serving His family, walking in obedience. If the Son of God needed a hidden season before stepping into His calling, how much more do we? God wasn't punishing Jesus by keeping Him hidden. He was protecting the assignment until the appointed time. You may not understand it now. You may feel forgotten. But your hidden season is part of God's divine strategy. He's guarding your gifts. He's refining your spirit. He's removing distractions. He's strengthening your heart. When you're finally revealed, you won't just be talented, you'll be mature, you'll be ready. It's easy to crave visibility. We all want to be seen, to be known, to have our efforts recognized. But sometimes visibility comes with vulnerability. The higher you go, the more pressure you face. The more influence you carry, the more scrutiny comes with it. That's why God waits until He knows you're not just ready to shine. You're not just ready for blessing. You're ready for battle. Because promotion in God's kingdom isn't just about platforms. It's about responsibility. It's about serving others, staying humble, and keeping your heart right in the midst of success. So let God hide you. Let Him protect you. Let Him guard the treasure He placed inside you. Trust that He knows the perfect time, the perfect place, and the perfect way to release you into your purpose. The same God who hid you will also reveal you when you're ready and when the world is ready for what He's placed inside you. Until then, rest in the knowledge that you're not forgotten, you're not forsaken. You're being protected by the One who sees the end from the beginning. You're under divine protection. You're under the hand of the Almighty. And when the moment comes, when He brings you out of hiding, no one will be able to stop what God has ordained. What He has prepared for you will find you. You won't have to chase it. You won't have to force it. It will come looking for you because the protection was never to hold you back. It was to ensure that when you arrive, you are whole, strong, and unstoppable. There are seasons in life when God seems silent. You pray and it feels like no one is listening. You knock on doors and none of them open. You try your best, stay faithful, serve with integrity, and yet nothing seems to move forward. It's in those quiet moments, in the stillness, when it feels like heaven is closed, that many people start to doubt. Did I do something wrong? Has God forgotten me? Is this the end of the road? But what you must come to understand is that just because God is silent does not mean He is absent. Just because you can't see anything happening doesn't mean God isn't working behind the scenes. Often the silence is where the deepest work is done. God develops you in the dark so you can stand in the light. He refines you in private so you can walk strong in public. The silence is not a punishment. It's a process. It's the space where God matures you, strengthens you, and prepares you. If He gave you the full picture, you might run ahead and mess up the timing. If He answered every prayer immediately, you might start trusting the outcome instead of trusting Him. So sometimes He hides the answers not to frustrate you, but to build your faith. Think of a seed. Once it's planted, it's buried under the soil. It looks like nothing is happening. From the outside, it seems hidden, even forgotten. But beneath the surface, there is a powerful transformation taking place. Roots are growing. Foundations are being established. And when the time is right, the seed breaks through the soil, not because it suddenly got power, but because it had been building strength in silence. If you had tried to force that seed to the surface too soon, it would have died. But because it was allowed to grow in the quiet, it was prepared for the light. God works the same way with us. He places dreams, visions, and callings deep in our hearts, and then He covers us. He allows us to walk through quiet seasons where we're being shaped. Not in front of the crowd, but in the secret place. You may feel overlooked, but you're not. You're being watered. You may feel buried, but you're not. You're being planted. David was anointed king of Israel while he was still a teenager, but he didn't step into that position right away. In fact, after his anointing, he went right back to the sheep fields. He served faithfully in obscurity while carrying a king's calling in his heart. And when the time came for him to face Goliath, he didn't come from a palace. He came from the pasture. His preparation in the quiet moments made him strong enough to face giants in the public ones. The silence trained David. It built character. It developed his confidence, not himself, but in God. That's why he could stand before Goliath and say, "The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the bear will rescue me from this Philistine." Where did that confidence come from? From the private victories in the quiet seasons. From the silence where he learned to trust God with no audience. Your silent season is not wasted. Every time you choose to keep going, even when you hear nothing, God is working. Every time you pray and don't get an immediate response, God is working. Every time you serve, give, or love when no one notices, God is watching. Your consistency in the silence is what prepares you for the breakthrough. Sometimes God will test your heart in the quiet to see if you can remain faithful without applause. Can you sing even when the music stops? Can you serve when no one says thank you? Can you believe when there's no evidence around you? That's what builds spiritual muscle. That's what creates real strength. Not the moments when everything is going right, but the times when you choose to believe even when nothing seems to change. And here's what's beautiful. What God does in you during the silence will speak louder than anything you could ever say. People will look at you one day and wonder, how did you become so strong? Where did that wisdom come from? How are you walking such peace? They won't realize that those things were forged in the fire of silence. They were born in the midnight hours, when it was just you and God, and you chose to trust anyway. Look at Joseph. He had dreams of leadership and greatness, but he was thrown into a pit, sold as a slave, and imprisoned unjustly. Years went by with no sign of fulfillment. But behind the scenes, God was working. He was using every moment of silence to prepare Joseph's character, to sharpen his discernment, and to position him for the palace. When the breakthrough came, it was sudden and public, but it was built on years of hidden, silent preparation. The same will happen for you. Your season of silence is not the end, it's the setup. God is lining up people, arranging circumstances, and preparing opportunities that you can't even imagine. He's using the silence to shape you into the kind of person who can sustain the blessing. Because it's not just about receiving the promise, it's about carrying it well. You may feel like your prayers are hitting a wall, like your dreams are stuck, like your efforts are invisible. But heaven is not silent. God hears, God sees, just not always loud about it. He works quietly, like a master artist, shaping a masterpiece in secret, unveiling it only when it's ready for display. So don't give up in the silence. Don't lose heart. Don't let the enemy convince you that nothing's happening. God is most often working when it looks like nothing is. He's training you to walk by faith, not by sight. He's deepening your roots so your life will bear lasting fruit. There will come a moment you least expect it, when the silence will break, the door will open, the prayer will be answered, the dream will come alive. And when that moment comes, you'll realize that it wasn't just the destination that mattered. It was who you became on the journey. So stay faithful, keep trusting, keep believing, keep walking. The silence is not the absence of God. It's the presence of His preparation. He's getting you ready. He's protecting your purpose, and at the right time, He will bring you out of the silence and into the fullness of what He's promised. There are moments in life when it feels like you're being passed over. Everyone else seems to be getting the opportunities, the recognition, the promotions, and the spotlight, while you're left waiting in the background. It's easy to let that turn into frustration, insecurity, or even resentment. But what if I told you that being overlooked isn't always a bad thing? What if, in fact, it's part of a divine plan? Sometimes God will allow you to be overlooked, not to punish you or discourage you, but to protect you. Because when God hides you, it's always for a greater purpose. You see what people can't see. They can't. When you're hidden, you're out of reach from the people, environments, or situations that might try to limit your growth. You're in a season of quiet preparation, a space where you can grow roots, strengthen your foundation, and develop in peace away from the noise, the comparison. And in that hiddenness, something powerful is happening. God is shaping you, refining your character, and preparing you to carry something bigger than what you're asking for right now. In today's world, we're tempted to think that visibility equals value, that if we're not seen, we're not successful. But God doesn't operate. God sees what people don't. He chooses to hide what He values. Think of a pearl. It's formed deep inside an oyster, hidden in the depths of the sea. Think of gold. It's found beneath the surface of the earth, hidden in rock. Or consider a diamond. It's formed under intense pressure, far from light in the deep. That hiding is part of the process of becoming precious. God will sometimes shield you because what you carry is valuable. He won't let it be exposed too early or handled by the wrong people. He's preserving you until the right time, because timing is everything. If you step into the spotlight before you're ready, the very thing you prayed for can become a weight you're not strong enough to carry. So God in His wisdom says, let me hide you a little longer. Let me protect your calling until your character is ready to sustain it. In the Bible, Moses is a powerful example. Before he became the great deliverer of Israel, he spent 40 years in the desert. From Prince of Egypt to shepherd in Midian, he went from the palace to being completely unknown. But it was there in the quiet in the wilderness that God was preparing him. God was shaping a leader, softening a heart, and instilling humility. Moses didn't know it, but every day tending those sheep was building the endurance he would later need to lead an entire nation. God hid him to prepare him. You may be in that hidden place right now. You're doing the work, you're showing up, but it feels like no one sees you. You're praying faithfully, serving, building, growing, but the spotlight hasn't come, and you're wondering, why am I being overlooked? But you're not being overlooked by God, you're being protected by Him. He's keeping you hidden from distractions that could derail you. He's shielding you from people who aren't assigned to your destiny. He's protecting the purity of your vision so the world doesn't distort it. Joseph had a dream as a teenager, a powerful vision of leadership. But instead of immediate elevation, he was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, and wrongly imprisoned. For over a decade, he was hidden in places where his talents and dreams seemed irrelevant. But even there, God was working. Even in the silence and obscurity, God was positioning him. When the time came, God brought him out in one day, from prison to palace, because when God is ready to reveal you, nothing and no one can stop it. But before that day comes, He hides you to preserve you. What's happening while you're hidden is just as important, if not more important, than what will happen when you're revealed. It's in the hiding that you learn to hear God's voice more clearly. It's where your motives are purified. It's where you learn to obey without applause and be faithful without recognition. That's the kind of foundation that lasts. David was another example. He was chosen to be king when he was still a teenager. Yet he went back to the fields to tend sheep to the throne. David remained hidden for years, serving Saul, dodging spears, living in caves. It wasn't punishment, it was protection. God was training him in secret so that when he took the throne, he had the strength, humility, and wisdom to lead well. You might feel like you're in the shadows, but you're not lost. You're being positioned. When God hides you, He's not delaying you. He's developing you. You're not being forgotten, you're being fortified. The very things you're learning in this quiet season, the discipline, the patience, the resilience, are what will sustain you when your season of visibility comes. Because it's one thing to rise, it's another thing to stay. God is not in a rush like people are. He's not trying to build your Instagram following. He's building your influence. He's not interested in short-term hype. He's after long-term impact. And real impact takes time. Real anointing is cultivated in the secret place. Real influence comes from seasons of silence, where you walk by faith and not by sight. When God finally brings you into the open, people will see the fruit. They won't see the root. They'll see the strength, but they won't know the struggle. They'll see the favor, but they won't understand the faith it took to wait, the discipline it took to keep showing up, the trust it took to stay hidden when everything in you wanted to be seen. But you'll know that it wasn't man who brought you there, it was God. And because He promoted you, no one can demote. So if you're in a season where it feels like you're hidden, rejoice. You're in good company. You're walking the same path as Moses, Joseph, David, even Jesus, who spent 30 years hidden before His public ministry began. God is not wasting your time. He's investing in your future. He's protecting the masterpiece He's creating you. Don't fight the hidden season. Embrace it. Let it do its work. Let it prepare you, strengthen you, shape you. Because the day is coming when God will say, and now it's time. And when that day comes, you won't have to push doors open. They'll swing wide for you. You won't have to compete for attention. You'll walk in purpose. You won't need man's validation. You'll carry divine authorization. But until then, rest in the truth that if God is hiding you, He is holding you. If He's delaying you, He is developing you. And if He's concealing you, He is covering you. Because what He's doing in you is too valuable to be exposed before it's ready. There are times in life when it feels like everything is still. No doors are opening. Prayers seem unanswered. You're doing all the right things, staying faithful, showing up, working hard. But it feels like you're not making progress. People around you are being promoted, blessed, celebrated, while you feel stuck, hidden, unnoticed. But that stillness isn't a sign that God has forgotten you. It's a sign that He's preparing you. Just because it feels like nothing is happening doesn't mean God isn't working. God does His deepest work in the season. In the hidden moments, God is planting something in your spirit that will bear fruit in the right time. When a seed is planted in the ground, there's a period where nothing appears to be happening. It's buried in the dirt out of sight, surrounded by darkness. But underneath the surface, that seed is breaking open. Roots are forming, foundations are being laid. And if you didn't understand the process, you might assume it was dead. But the seed isn't dead, it's just hidden, it's preparing for a breakthrough. And in the same way, when you feel buried, God isn't punishing you, He's planting you. You're not being buried to be forgotten, you're being planted to grow. That season where no one is calling your name, where you're not being celebrated, where you feel isolated, that's not the end of your story. That's part of your development. It's where your foundation is built. It's where your strength is tested. It's where your faith is forged. And God will never build something on a weak foundation. He loves you too much to elevate you before you're ready. That's why He hides you, for your protection, for your preparation, for your transformation. We often think silence from God means rejection, but many times God is silent because He's working. When you go to a tailor for a custom-made suit, you don't see the work happen in front of you. They take your measurements, write down your requests, then go into the back room and get to work. You don't see the cutting, the stitching, the crafting. It happens behind closed doors. And when they finally bring it out, it's exactly what you asked for, tailored just for you. That's how God works. He takes your prayers, your faithfulness, your trust, and then He goes to work behind the scenes. And when the time is right, He brings out what He's been crafting just for you. In the hidden seasons, you learn to rely on God's voice instead of people's praise. You learn to walk by faith and not by sight. You learn that your value isn't tied to visibility, but to who you are in God. You become anchored, so when the winds of life blow, you don't fall. You become strong on the inside, so that when you're elevated, the weight of the blessing doesn't crush you. Because the greater the calling, the deeper the foundation must be. Some of the most powerful people in Scripture went through hidden seasons. Think about Jesus. He spent 30 years in obscurity before beginning His public ministry. 30 years of preparation for 3 years of purpose. He wasn't wasting time. He was being prepared. God was shaping him, anchoring him, deepening his understanding, building his capacity. And if Jesus needed a hidden season, so do we. The world teaches us to rush, to hustle, to push, to perform. But God's way is different. He's not in a hurry. He values depth over speed. He's more concerned with who you're becoming than where you're going. So in those quiet seasons, don't despise the silence. Don't rush the process. God is working in you what He plans to work through you. The patience you're building now will serve you later. The humility you're developing in private will protect you in public. There are lessons you can only learn in the hidden place. Lessons about identity, about trust, about obedience. And those lessons will shape how you handle success when it comes. Because success isn't just about achievement. It's about character. And God is in the business of building character. He's not trying to impress people. He's preparing vessels. Vessels that can carry glory, that can stand in integrity, that can be trusted with influence. When you embrace the hidden season, you allow God to do a deeper work. You stop striving and start surrendering. You let go of needing to be seen and start resting in being known by Him. And that's where the transformation happens. That's where you begin to align with your true purpose. Because when the time comes and God brings you out of hiding, you won't be insecure or unprepared. You'll be rooted, confident, and ready. There's a powerful peace that comes when you realize you don't have to promote yourself. You don't have to force open doors. If God opened them, no one can shut them. If He closed them, it's because He's protecting you. He's not trying to delay you. He's positioning you. He knows where you're going, and He knows what it takes to get you there. And sometimes that means hiding you until the time is right. In the hidden season, it's easy to look around and wonder why others are being elevated, why you're still waiting. But comparison is the enemy of contentment. Your journey is not their journey. Your process is not their process, and your timing is not their timing. God is writing your story with care and intention. Trust that His pace is perfect. He's not late. He's preparing you for something that requires this season of stillness. Remember, every tree that bears fruit had a season where no fruit was visible. It had to grow down before it could grow up. Its roots had to stretch deep into the ground to support the weight of what was coming. That's what God is doing in you. He's building fruits of faith into it. So when your season of fruitfulness comes, it will last. You won't be shaken by success because you've been anchored in the secret place. So hold on in the hidden season. Keep showing up. Keep being faithful. Keep seeking God. You may not see the fruit yet, but the roots are growing. The foundation is being laid. And when God says it's time, you'll rise, not in your strength, but in His. You'll walk into opportunities you didn't have to chase. You'll see doors open that no man could shut. And you'll realize that the hidden season wasn't a waste. It was the womb of your destiny. So when it feels like you're hidden, like no one sees your effort or hears your prayers, remember God sees you. He's not withholding your breakthrough. He's preparing it. Trust that the hidden season has a holy purpose. It's not the end of your story, but the shaping of it. In time, what was once unseen will be revealed, stronger, wiser, and rooted for the greatness ahead. QQ,